Well, thank you very much for staying with us. Time now for the news review. And guess who? Well, former president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Afil Moni, is our guest. Right before I bring him into the fray, though, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to bring you this segment every morning. Now, here's what they are offering you. If you're a man, you've never checked out your prostate, or it's been a while since you did, or even you checked last year, like I did, how about this year? Do you know the state of your prostate? Do you know how healthy your prostate is? If it's enlarging, would you know? If you're a woman, you do not know whether any fibroids are developing as far as your reproductive system is concerned, and that could affect childbearing and many other things in future. It could even cost you your life. I've known someone who lost their life on the back of that, and even compromising your fertility. What do you know about your fertility status? And that's why we're offering you every morning Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They are offering free services when it comes to these two: prostate screening and fertility screening for women. Here's where you can locate them. Here in Accra, they are at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi Kronoma Abuehia behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takra Dianaji Estate, Tema Community 22. Techiman Hanswa and Siamanzama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. And the start of the news review. Mr. Moni, Aiko,
yeah.
Wezo.
You.
Thanks for making it on the show, and you're looking.
Pleasure.
You're looking fantastic.
This is a gift for my Arsenal addicted son, Nana Moni.
Did you say Arsenal addicted?
Addicted, yes.
Oh, he's a fan of Arsenal.
Fan, yes.
The Gunners.
The Gunners, yes.
Is he watching?
Yes, he's watching.
He's watching.
Yes, he's watching.
Okay, so I'll reduce the mischief because what I wanted to say, they are doing well though. They are doing much better than my Manchester United.
Yeah,
right
Manchester
now,
is a disaster.
It's a deep. I don't know about Zanda, but it's terrible right now. But you see, my only problem with Arsenal is they are like an elephant. They will climb atop the tree, all right. But you know the weight of an elephant.
Sure.
It is bound to.
And there's some degree of consistency.
Oh, but they are getting something right with the youngsters.
Youngsters, exactly.
It's almost reminiscent of when Arsene Wenger was leading the team. The crop of young people he kept bringing. Yeah. And sometimes, even when they bought, they would buy a player at very little cost, but when they are moving the player out at a huge cost. So that's something they are getting right. If you look at Edin Ketia, I think he scored a hat-trick a few days ago. There's Bukayo Saka, and even those who may be somewhat senior, the Jesuses and others, they have quite a blend going on. Quite a team. Anyway, Nana, I'll leave you to enjoy your Arsenal, but as for winning the league, that one, I don't know. Anyway, so before we get into the papers, some interesting matters have happened. I don't know which one you would like to touch on, but in the midst of all of that, there's also the Ghana Journalists Awards.
Fantastic. And
Erastus Asare Donko emerging, the best when it came to illegal mining, and then the overall best journalist of the year. But what are your reflections? We were talking about it before it happened, starting in the day and all of that. What were your reflections on the day?
Media awards, specifically the media awards, are the pinnacle of the achievement in the media. Every journalist and every person has a sense of achievement. And the GJ Awards are the pinnacle of such achievement. And let me seize the opportunity to sprinkle a stardust of congratulations on all those who won awards on Sunday afternoon, which extended to late evening. And the star of the evening and the man of the moment is Erastus. And he is someone who gave up ownership of his life in the pursuit of truth relative to the environmental plunder of gigantic proportions in our forests. And he his documentaries, he signalized himself as not only a professional gem, but someone who exemplifies the motto of this station, multimedia, fearless and independent. Incredible journalism. So Erastus is a symbol of fearlessness. His fearless streak is what...
He's literally risked his life in some instances to go to some of the mining sites. And, you know, at a point on the back of threats and all of that he was receiving from people in establishments.
Yeah.
You know, you're on a site doing certain things and you get a call, hey, this and that. He shared all of those with us. And his pain is the fact that he mentioned, I think he had been doing this, it's been 9 years now.
9 years.
9 years. The question is, on the back of these 9 years of exposing the rot, of exposing illegal mining, of exposing how some of the powers that be have their hands and feet mired in illegal mining, why is there no action?
This is the question.
That's our pain.
It's a pain.
Because we don't do these documentaries for fun. We do them so that
surely
action will be taken. But it appears nothing is happening.
So this dampen our spirit. We should continue pushing, untangling, and exposing the rots in certain places, holding the feet of public office holders to the fire of accountability. This is what we have decided to do in contribution to our national progress in all dimensions. And Erastus, apart from his fearless streak, he's also somebody who exemplifies distinctively distinct journalism. And in choosing the journalist of the year, the panel does not only look at one piece of work. It should be consistent. So your work in general should ignite pride in the entire profession. So congratulations to the man of the moment.
And not just him, of course, we had 8 winners.
Exactly, 8.
On the day. Among them, Radio Program of the Year, News File, our very own Emma Davies also getting the gong for business and economics reporting, Ms. Enchil, among others, a plethora of winners in there. And this is also an opportunity to salute all of those under this umbrella who made us proud. That's what we do here, like you said, independent, fearless, credible. And we'll keep doing that. We have Emmanuel Ampoma coming through with this. Hello, good morning, and good morning to you too. Dondo Sombari says, good morning, I'm doing my monitoring from Wabuha. Loud and clear there, bro. Well, it's good to hear that we're loud and clear in Wa. I hope Wa is cool this morning. I don't know whether it's rained there as well. But right before we get into the papers, brief one. My attention was just drawn. I saw this on Joy News on Facebook. You can get a lot of information from there. In recent times, I've had to give him some flack. I'm talking about the managing director of the ECG. And he's had, interviews with us, and he says there's no Dumso. Even yesterday, I had Dumso. Even yesterday. Well, Charlie, try and monitor some small NSMQ no fuel. I don't know whether they were asking me to solve the problem of the day with the power outage, because I couldn't solve that problem. Have you experienced power outage? Yesterday, by the way, by the time I got home and the lights went off, I was told that was about the 5th time in a day the light had gone off. And subsequently, while I was home, it kept going on and off for about 4 times till it just remained. And what are you doing to people's equipment?
Maybe they didn't have the right briefing, and I believe he can't be everywhere, so his men should brief him on challenges consumers of power face in all parts of the country.
But I just wanted to find out, have you experienced that lately? Power outage?
Yesterday we spared the Domso, and it's a regular occurrence in our Andenta Commandos area. But yesterday we had a regular power supply.
Fortunate you.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the papers now. Lots to discuss. The Daily Graphic, Prosek Legon wins 8th National Science and Math Quiz. And congratulations to the Audadiers. you've done yourselves proud. Someone this morning was accosting me, and I told the person that NSMQ is not life, but it's a great achievement. And I think slowly Presec is becoming the Real Madrid of the National Science and Math Quiz. Yeah. And this is an amazing feat. I've been told of the sort of things they do right when the students come in to ensure that they pick the finest of the crop, the creme de la creme, to represent them. And they've proved their mettle one more time. So you cannot but give credit where it is due. And we salute the Odadie family for this great feat. If you are a student of Presec, an old student of Presec, I think you ought to be proud. But here's where I'll leave it off and add. With all this science and math knowledge, how are these students, how are the cream of the crop able to make that actualize our dreams as Ghanaians in technology, in the sciences, in STEM, basically? Those are the things we should say, oh, this person competed for this school back then, and look at him now. He is innovating. He has created this thing. He has done that thing. Without that, my thinking. But what's yours?
I have two sons, and in fact, I'm a father of twins. And and my twins attended Presec the other year.
Right.
And yesterday, Payne told me that apart from putting extra hard work to excel, they also invest in prayer. So so their preparation, it is backed by tenacious prayers. And this crystallizes into their excellence at quiz competitions. So maybe these others can take a cue from Presec,
but yesterday they were all praying.
They were.
Achimota was praying, Owas was praying, they were praying the rosary. Owas was, so they were all in that mood. But I saw someone post something that God can listen to only one school's prayers, and I was laughing, but only one will emerge.
Certainly.
Winner. Even when there's a tiebreaker will be brought in. Someone must win and someone must play second.
And we must commend multimedia for hyping this competition.
Oh, yeah.
So
if it has to do with stuff like that, education, you can trust us.
Yes.
And now we see others trying to copy. No problem. You can copy a little, but we are in a comfortable league. We are far ahead doing what we do. So once more, congratulations to Legon Presec. We have to specify because there are many Presecs.
Legon Presec.
So Legon Presec. And interesting story there. So Selinam Kofi Morte, he is one of the contestants for Presec. And his brother contested in 2019 for Presec. So you see that it's been a bit of a family affair for them. And they should be proud. Mrs. Morty should be proud. Other stories. Stop capping Get Fund. Dr. Abe says so. In recent times, he's gone hard against the Get Fund. VRA ends spillage. $450 million manganese refinery set for Nsuta Ayo. I keep saying we hear all of these figures and we're doing this and lithium and that, and then they'll tell you now we are signing deals that are better. What's the percentage? And you see, we do all of these things and what comes back to us. But I'll get into the story rather than just talk about it. Trading Inspectors Commission to enforce standards and media role should go beyond rhetoric, EC chairperson. I listened to her at the GJA Awards and I was smiling, but I'll reserve my comments. There are a number of things I could say to her as well, but I'll reserve my comments on that and watch as she also does her work and see how diligently she does her work. Because basically, ahead of election 2024, I think the peace of our country, to some extent, lies in her bosom. And depending on what she does...
Very large extent. Very large extent.
Anyway, so let's get into like two or so stories, and then you can reflect on any of these. A mining firm has firmed up a decision to construct the country's first bauxite refinery at Nsuta in the Western region. Ghana Manganese Company Limited is undertaking the $450 million project in collaboration with its majority shareholder, Tanyun Manganese Industry Group, a Chinese company. Already, feasibility studies have been completed, paving the way for the first phase of the refinery project to commence before the end of the year. The vice president of TMI, Shu Libing, who disclosed this, said the Greenfield project was expected to be completed and operationalized within 12 months. I hope 12 months will be 12 months and will not do the same thing we've been doing with other projects. And I hope too that what we are hoping to gain from this will not start massaging. Look at our oil. Some of the places the oil revenue should go, they are not going there. Sure. And we're expending them on other things. We can't simply follow rules in this country.
So this underlines the need for the media to sharpen our focus in that area, making sure that the politicians match their words with action.
That's another story. That's one. It's another story. Let's get to page 13 now. Stop capping Get Fund. And the government has been urged to end the capping of the Ghana Education Trust Fund to enable it to provide the urgently needed school infrastructure to accommodate the large number of students in the country. The executive director of Ignite Media, Dr. Randy Abe, who made a strong case for a review of the Ghana Education Trust Fund Act 2000, that is Act 581, at the 92nd speech and prize-giving day of Accra Academy School in Accra at the weekend, challenged the government to review the earmarked funds capping and realignment Act 2017, that is Act 947, to stop the diversion of funds accrued for other uses and fully restore the ability of Get Fund to provide infrastructure in schools at an accelerated rate. Again, another instance where a broke government always wants to dip its hands into coffers where it shouldn't be dipping its hands and diverting resources to do things for which, so there's a Get Fund levy.
Yeah.
You go and make certain purchases. I pay the levy, expecting that it will go into the students, infrastructure and aiding students, scholarships and all of that. Even the scholarships, look at what has happened over the years. People in power who have all the largesse still going to Harvard and the rest, and it is that fund supporting them. Can you imagine? Can you imagine this?
Lack of monitoring on the part of media too can cause such breaches to fester.
Well, we've exposed these. We've spoken about them. Now the Scholarship Secretariat says some of these things have been streamlined and all of that, but we still know some of the things that go on. There are people there, you need 70,000 Ghana cedis or whatever, and they will. I mean, we've known these stories, and we keep hearing them. The Goroism and all of that, who allows it? Who allows it? VRA has ended its spillage. It's embarking on some fumigation exercises. And just to wrap with the daily graphic so you can come in with other stories, let me go to where the Electoral Commissioner is speaking, Madam Jean Mensah. When she became Electoral Commissioner, I was the first person who interviewed her.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. My morning radio days, the very first person she granted a media interview. Anyway, media roles should go beyond rhetoric, EC chairperson. Now, the chairperson, Jean Mensah, has said the media's role towards ensuring peace and security in the 2024 election must go beyond mere rhetoric to practice responsible journalism. She has therefore charged media professionals to take up their role as custodians of truth by combating misinformation and disinformation to help consolidate the country's democratic credentials. She says, therefore, your commitment to ensure the peace and security of our country as we go to the polls in 2024 should go beyond mere rhetoric to practicing responsible journalism. The lessons of Rwanda are evident for all to see. We are all aware of how the unchecked power of the media contributed to a devastating genocide. Disinformation and falsehood turned friends and neighbors into enemies and culminated in a dark chapter of human history. I'll end it here, but Madam Chairperson, respectfully, some of the actions, too, of some people could lead to that degeneration. And you are in pole position. So do what's right by the people and ensure that we have free, fair, sustainable elections. We'll play our part. You play yours. That's it. Any quick reflections?
Just to beef up the statement by Madam G. Mensah, the Daily Guide is quoting her as saying that the EC is not above criticism. She ever said institutions like the media.
Yeah, she mentioned that.
Yeah.
So that they too are not above
criticism.
Yeah. But to be honest with you, sometimes they have sounded like that, as though they were immune to criticism. I don't know what your take is, but there are certain times listening to them, listening to the Bosman Asaris, my own former lecturer, good friend, Dr. Sribo Kweku, among others, you get the impression as though they felt they were in this ivory tower and they couldn't be touched. We saw that recently in all the talk about the district level, registrations and all of that. I don't know what you're thinking.
Sometimes they over-assert their independence. And this comes across as an institution which is immune to criticism. Criticism, as I said, is a gift. And we always ought to bear in mind, keep at the lodge at the back of our memory, that perfection is an impossible goal with every institution, every human institution. So, it's your interest if people point out your imperfections, so as to help you to shape up in response to the expectations of the public.
While saying that, though, we must add that there are two types of criticism: constructive and destructive. And indeed, sometimes the criticism is not constructive. You can give them that. Sometimes it is below the bar. But there's also criticism that sometimes feeds right into the fray, because when these CSOs and others speak, when people in the media speak, we're speaking so that things will be done, so that we don't end up, she was citing Rwanda, so we don't end up in the mire or in the mud. That's basically it. Finally, Kenya to scrap visas for African visitors by year end, and Nigeria is doomed. Atiku responds to court ruling. The court has ruled on that matter, and Atiku says Nigeria is doomed. That's what he says.
And the court cited the law. We said they failed to present their case within a certain time frame, and regarding Tinubu's certificate.
Well, let's check out other papers.
The MPP primaries, the back and forth, the trade in accusations.
That's the Daily Guide news.
The Daily Guide is leading with the rebuttal by Bawumia camp that they offered Kennedy Agyapong $800 million to step down.
$800 million?
$800 million to step down. And according to Ken, the offer was made for him to step down. And so the Bawumia camp has come to rebut that accusation, describing it as outlandish.
But wait, if, and these are things that, of course, ought to be checked out, because this is not the first time that Kennedy Agyapong is saying something like this. But you also ask yourself, on the back of finding huge sums of money in the houses of if you know you are holding cash in your house, that one, wala o wala. Me, I don't have FOCO in my house, so if you come and search, you will not find anything. The little I have, I keep in the bank, which is what procedure we are all supposed to be following. But on the back of those huge stashes of cash that we've seen in people's houses, and some reports about other people in power also having say, you ask yourself, if this were to be true, would this be totally impossible? And then it would also make you wonder, we're getting how much from the IMF? 3 billion.
Yeah, 3 billion.
Maybe we don't need that money after all. Maybe our politicians or some people could have coughed up that money.
Exactly, yes. Because this practice of keeping large sums of money in homes is not new. And this is akin to our politics, because at the moment you deposit large sums of money in a bank, that will arouse a lot of suspicions, and the media can pick it up.
It's all about, how did you get this money? That is what people are afraid of. So how did you get the money?
Yeah, so avoid this question. You had it somewhere and releasing, and we saw it with Obeda Samoa on the NDC. Yeah, Obeda Samoa was keeping lots of money under his bed, and it came out that some people were also feeding fat on that money. And that's so. This is something.
It's been a ritual.
Yeah, it's a ritual. It's a ritual. It's a ritual. So none of the parties is whiter than white, pure and pure when it comes to such practice.
We've seen those who have kept money in their car boots and all kinds of things.
Yes, there are ceilings, and I hear some have underground compartments.
So I hear some keep them in water tanks. So some of the water tanks are not filled.
Yeah, enough for water, but for money.
Why is someone shivering? We just said water tanks. What's your problem? Hey. Well. A bad area. Okay, so there's that story.
Yeah.
And the Bawumia camp is saying they don't know anything about it.
They don't know what it said. Okay. And so the rest of them happened on Saturday, and it's as clear as lights, nights follow the day that His Excellency Dr. Bawumia will emerge the flag bearer. This is not the final step to his presidency, and let's see what happens on 7th of December 2024.
Time will tell. Other stories?
Other story, we have OSP clearing Edubai of Anas's corruption.
And they've closed that case.
Yeah, they closed that case. No, they said they can revisit the case.
Yes, but for now.
For now. And when time demands. And the explanation they offered was that influence peddling is not an offense under a criminal statute. And even though they found him guilty of influence peddling, but our laws have no provision to prosecute him. So OSP is calling for the enactment of relevant laws, which make influence peddling an offense.
But even without criminal proceedings against him, and like we've said, it could be something that in future comes up, the damage this does to you in terms of the work you do, it's like the former PPA boss, procurement. You are gone.
You are gone.
What's his name? Kwesi Nyantechi, football.
Gone.
You are gone.
Yeah.
Charles Edubuahin now, even if he's cleared in this, in terms of the work he does, that's what happens, which is why all of us ought to be careful.
All of us, especially the public office holders. The Ghanaian Times has banned the statement by His Excellency the President that West Africa countries should come together to fight terrorism. And
recently, we received over 100 vehicles from the EU. Being seized. They were heading to Libya or something, and they've been given to us to counter terrorism.
And all.
We are not dealing with the conflagrations in Boku, in other parts of the country, and even Garu. What we saw recently, they were shooting the national security officers. They followed them to the police station, and per the reports, they were shooting into the police station with a mind to kill. Of course, the reaction was also not good. The sort of beatings. This was inhuman. This was, the lashing. This was not even lashing. This was like flaying people. It was totally out of order. But we have a serious threat on our hands, and we act as though we didn't, because that's how insurgency creeps in. And look at our porous borders.
The ease with which people embrace violence in this country. And I think we need to address it. And it's a cancer to a national peace. And we are dropping on a peace index in Africa.
We've been dropping for a long time.
Yeah, so we should watch it and apply the brakes so that we secure this country for the present and future generations. So back to another story. He's underscored the crucial need for West African countries to collaborate in dealing with the raging menace of terrorism. So no country is free as far as terrorism is concerned. So it's an interest of all West African countries to come together, pull in one direction, synergize the effort to ensure that we contain the threat of violence. And the Daily Break.
So Daybreak newspaper.
The Daybreak newspaper. Also leading with Team Bawumia disputing Ken's allegation that as much as $800 million was offered to Ken to step down. lotto operators are saying no to 300 million cedi to National
Lottery Authority,
and all that. And Parliament is resuming sitting today. I believe they have a lot on the table, and we expect our MPs, to hurry up and do justice to the professional metal. And people expect them to justify the election to Parliament. And there are so many issues which are competing for national attention.
And the currents.
And the currencies. And we also expect the budget to be read in the course of this sitting. And expectations are that businesses will be spared the
further taxes and some
taxes.
In fact, the Economy Times repeats that 2023 budget, major stakeholders want tax reforms. But before I get into that, there's a story right there. I want you to briefly take it. Tanzanian students taken hostage by Hamas in Gaza named. Now we know their names. Who are they?
We are told that 2 Tanzanian students have been taken hostage by Hamas in Gaza. And the names are Joshua Loitu Molel and Clemens Phyllis Intanga. They were in Israel as part of an agricultural internship program. And this is so sad.
Israel is one of those countries that many countries, even Ghana, look up to in terms of tech and other things. So they were there trying to acquire knowledge, and unfortunately this
we pray that
we pray they get
the security.
Just to wrap the conversation, the Finder newspaper. I'm deeply honored Erastus Asare Donko pictured here with his awards. And you can check out the story on page 8. The others are stories we've seen, apart from Dr. Ifriya Akoto cautions against manipulation and favoritism ahead of November the 4th. The back page of the Daily Graphic, I forgot to do this. Engineers and planners begins dredging in Mepe and Aveyime. And just to wrap up with Economy Times, 2023 budget, major stakeholders want tax reforms. Major players within the Ghanaian economy are calling for several tax reforms to help keep the private sector active to contribute progressively to the economic expansion and job creation. I'm talking about GUTA. They are talking about the COVID-19 levy, the special import levy in the yet to be read 2024 budget. And Ghana to end 2023 with 99% debt to GDP ratio. That's according to Fitch. 99% debt to GDP ratio.
Alarming.
That's it. Maybe Adrian, no. Ibrahim Biligo says, great job, Joy News. Well, thank you for watching. Any final thoughts as we go?
Once again, let me take the opportunity to sprinkle stardust of commendation on Erastus. He's made us proud, and it pays to do this job for journalism. According to Gabriel Marquez, is the best profession in the world. So Erastus, even though it doesn't pay, and we are now the toast of the whole nation for your excellence. Continue to do a good job and be an example of distinctively distilled journalism.
Thank you so much. I feel money. You said something. It doesn't pay. Forgotten country. I feel money is former president of the Ghana Journalists Association. As we veer into sports, of course, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to bring you this segment. They're offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening as well. Locate them here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronuma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takrade Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siamanzama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Up next, we serve you sports. Do say.